Our Colorado quality of life is important to us, and the first step in preserving that quality of life is to understand where state government is headed financially. In Colorado, the general fund, made up of state income and sales taxes, is the checking account for the state. The state draws on this account to pay for things that improve our quality of life: schools, healthcare, public safety, health and human services, and colleges and universities. Just as in a personal checking account, times are good when there's enough in the account to cover the things you need and want to buy. But when the balance goes into the red, something has to change. The Colorado Futures Center has forecast that when we look at all the pieces and add everything up over time, there won't be enough money coming in to pay for all the services we rely on. Here's why. State revenues, particularly sales taxes, will grow more slowly in the years to come. We pay sales tax when we buy new stuff, but future trends show buying patterns are shifting, and people in coming decades will be more limited by college debt and a tight job market. So they'll spend less on new retail stuff and more on experiences and services. We mostly don't tax these kinds of expenses or things we buy through Craigslist or eBay, so our state's checkbook is going to take a hit. Slower growth in future income taxes, thanks to a growing percentage of baby boomers on fixed incomes, will also be an issue for Colorado. Meanwhile, the cost of some of our largest state programs, like K-12 education, will be going up. The biggest check we write as a state goes to fund K-12 schools. Funding for this comes from two pots of money: the state general fund and the local property tax. Tax policy in Colorado has limited the growth of those local property taxes, so that means a greater share of the cost for K-12 will come out of our general fund checkbook. It's just as if a household that relied on two paychecks to make ends meet got cut to one. Changes would have to be made in order to keep afloat. Meanwhile, the second largest check we write as a state, healthcare, will also be growing. As baby boomers get older and retire, more of them will become eligible for Medicaid to help pay for long-term care, which means a greater cost to Colorado. And when the two largest programs paid for by the general fund are growing more quickly than the money coming in, we soon won't have enough to pay for all the other programs we depend on. Something will have to change. But there is some good news. The Colorado Futures Center did its first analysis of the state's budget picture 3 years ago, and then updated that study last year. So we can say the future looks a little brighter in this latest study, ironically because of the recession. Since that downturn, we're seeing young adults now waiting to start their families, and so probably having fewer children overall. Smaller families mean less strain on K-12 education funding. The recession also slowed down how quickly prices are going up. With lower inflation, government programs cost less, and that's good news for our state checkbook. But even with all the good news at the end of the recession, our quality of life is still at risk. The state general fund will not be able to pay for everything in the future that it pays for today. So what can we do? Like that guy you know who hasn't changed his hairstyle since the 1970s, it's time for an update. We have a tax code that doesn't reflect the way consumers spend their money in the 21st century. It's time to fix that. Remember those experiences and services that we don't tax? Well, we could start taxing some of those. And we could fix an unintended consequence of our tax code, which is about to force the general fund to give up some of its revenue simply because of how we classify a fee that hospitals pay to leverage federal Medicaid dollars. If we do these two things, our state checkbook will be able to pay for most of its programs all the way until 2022. And after that, remember the local property tax, which is not pulling its weight in paying for our schools? We need to fix that too. As we said, it's time for an update. To enjoy a great quality of life in Colorado, we have to keep our state's checkbook balanced. If we start cleaning up our finances and fixing these problems today, our children will be able to pay their bills and keep Colorado going strong in the years ahead.